warm welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, ET Now's special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. On the show today, I'm being joined by Sushant Mitra. He's the founder of Lead Angels. We also have T.R. Bajalia, the former DMD of Sidbi. He's also the ex-executive director and head of the SME business at IDBI Bank. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us here today. Let's start today's episode with a call, and this one's coming to us from Hari Mamudia. Go ahead, Hari.
My question is regarding GST. Being a trader, we want come to know that if we purchase some material on interstate, means we have paid CGST and we sold this material within the state where we are existing and charge LGST from the customer. So I want to know CGST which we have paid, LGST we collected, whether both will be adjusted and balance tax we have to deposit, or CGST will be adjusted with CGST or LGST will be adjusted in LGST.
All right, thanks for that query. This is slightly different query than the ones we've been taking on GST, and this is more about local taxes. Is this a pertinent question? Are his concerns valid?
His concern is valid. You see this, when we are talking about GST, it subsums the total central taxes and which is taken as a CGST, states which is taken as a state GST, or interstate which is taken as a IGST. All these sums are taken, and state taxes are your sale tax, your value added tax, entertainment tax which is imposed by local authorities also. Then this is mean in addition to the local authorities, entertainment tax, all that entry tax, all these are taken under one, plus whatever your central taxes are there, like this custom duties or excise duty, all these are taken, but everything that benefit is given, that input is given, and the like GST charged to the finally consumers, till that consumer at the manufacturing or transportation or warehousing, wherever these expenditure they have incurred and where they have paid the tax as a value added tax, wherever it is coming as a value added, this benefit is going to be given to them.
So, exactly. So, I think what it does away with is that earlier on we used to pay multiple, those multiple, double, triple layers of tax. That has gone with GST in essence. You don't, there is no double taxation of anything.
All right, Hari, I trust that answers your query in terms of any duplicity possibly of GST with local taxes. Let's take in our next query, and this one is a call which is coming to us from Rajesh Nandwani. Go ahead, Rajesh.
I need to know how to reduce the cost of raw material and how do we cope up with the new technology, and how do we fight with these big MNCs? Okay,
another query in terms of how to really go about taking on a competition which is coming in, but let's talk about him. The fact is that he's a software manufacturer and wants to know how to manufacture and export his product outside of India, and also in a sense take on competition which is coming in. Do you want to take a stab at it?
So, today there are multiple platforms where software developers and manufacturers can go and list their software and get people to write about them and rate them and so on and so forth. There are multiple such sites. You should sort of do a sort of survey of all these sites and decide which one is most suitable for his product and his market that he is looking at. So, that is one. Two, he can also promote his website and the product that he has across the internet. He can also think of getting his product written about in magazines, in markets where it is likely to be used. These would be my suggestions to him.
Sure. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I fully agree. This I think website is very, very important. Once they list all their products, what are the products, which industry they are catering to, and then lot of seminars and these are happening. They can participate in these seminars and this thing and display their mention about their products. On that basis, I think it will help them.
All right, thanks for that query, Rajesh. Let's take in our next query. This is a call coming to us from Mayur Mangi. Go ahead, Mayur.
In Surat, we don't get much opportunity for working for overseas market. In Bombay and Bangalore, we hear that there are a lot of software companies who do exports to American countries, European countries. So can we have a platform here on which through which we can market our products, know what products they require, and put our business to more accelerate our business.
Okay, so just specifically for his query, he's also in the supply and import and exporter as far as printing inks and printing modifiers, and he's a manufacturer in that space. Thanks for calling in with that query, Mayur. If you were to advise him in terms of how, one, to incorporate newer technology, and two, to ensure that he's also able to keep his costs within a specific range, what would your advice be?
So, I think there's a lot of change going on in the overall printing industry. One is that printing which is causing environmentally damaging is going out of fashion, and more, if I may use the word, greener printing technologies are coming in. Also, in general, the printing itself is, as a business, is getting affected by the growth of the internet and other mediums of communication. People are not printing, So here it's important to be innovating all the time, to look at newer technologies which do not cause environmental damage, as well as look at maybe diversification, because some printing industry is somewhat is not growing as fast as it used to in the past because of all these reasons. I think he also said that between between Bangalore and Bombay, a lot of people get overseas business, and in Surat he finds it difficult to get business. What my advice to him would be that I think the internet and the web give him the ability, a level playing field for everybody to be visible and to get known.
I will just say that technology today, to survive in the market, technology is the must. He has to continuously upgrade his technology, and he should see all the cost factor, whether like in printing, whether at the initial stage, process stage, or at the final stage, and how the wastage, whether wastage is increasing or he is in a position to reduce the wastages, or his efficiency overall is improving, his raw material cost, he is able to manage that or reduce the cost on raw material side, or selling cost also, whether he can reduce that selling cost. All these cost centers, if he takes proper close monitoring of these cost centers and see that what is the cost today, and again he on monthly basis he keeps on monitoring that whether he is in a position to reduce that or it is increasing on the same quantity. I think that will help him in overall reducing the cost.
Okay, let's take in our next query, and this is coming to us from Prakash Agarwal, and it's also a call. Go ahead, Prakash.
My first question is, what is the safety of the money invested by the investors in the startup? Because they give a inflated project report, and later on, what is is there any credit agency which rated the project?
Okay, and also maybe you can advise him. We were talking about CIBIL and rating agencies. Are there any rating agencies that investors, people like you who put in money into other companies, should be looking at?
From a portfolio allocation perspective, you should not look at putting more than, say, 5% of your portfolio, of your equity portfolio, into these high risk ventures. So that is number one. Number two is that since startup investing is fairly new in India, I am not aware of any agency which rates startups from an equity investment perspective. Maybe there are rating agencies for lending to them, but not for their equity investments. And to take care of that problem, a lot of in India, angel networks have come up as groups of people who want to invest in startups. Lead Angels is one where which one does that, and we collectively evaluate companies, and therefore to that extent take multiple views, and therefore all the risk parameters can be reduced to zero, but are estimated before you invest in them.
Sure. Is there anything you want to add, Mr. Bachania?
I simply say that these startups are actually at a very, very nascent stage, and then expecting any assessment from any rating agency or may be difficult, because rating agency, again here the promoters generally they are assessed by way of their net worth, their background, and all these things may not be there. Technology part where they are going, that is also not sure which technology part and how it will further progress. So rating agency this type, at this time perhaps may be difficult. P are there or venture capital funds are there. They do a proper due diligence. I think they take a lot of initiatives also, and they do all sort of due diligence. They take some time. Perhaps maybe they can only do this.
Okay, let's take a very quick break then on this note. Don't go anywhere. Lots of other queries on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. With us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're continuing to take in all of your queries. The next one is coming to us from Sapani Pillai. Go ahead, Sapani.
And I just want to know whether MSME training can be taken up by private entrepreneurs, and if so, is there any subsidy available in Chennai?
Maybe we can broad base that question, not just Chennai, but for
anywhere.
the whole of India. The government is talking, of course, about Skill India, and at a time like that, if companies like his want to take up training for MSMEs, how do they go about it? A, and B, what are the benefits?
I think even before this Skill India again, there were various programs under this Ministry of SME, and they were encouraging these people to conduct various type of trainings. And in private sector, in fact, some people are coming forward and they conduct the training which are subsidized by the government of India. There are various agencies, in fact, before this earlier, actually financial institutions, they promoted 18 TCOs, technical consultancy organization. Their main aim was to conduct the training for entrepreneurs, and after the training, then they used to send them to the state level financial institution where from they can borrow the money. And there was a seed capital scheme of SIDBI and IDBI, which is at 1% service charge. These people used to avail that as a equity. So equity was coming, loan was coming, and they were running the units. Today, in fact, this type of facilities are not there, but training facilities are there, which government is encouraging. At various places, this type of training courses are being run. Coimbatore is there, I think Chennai, I am not aware, but Bangalore or Delhi, lot of people are conducting this type of programs. I again know that ILD, that institute in Jaipur, they are conducting various programs for various entrepreneurs, young children who are coming from the colleges, or even for the who are going to work as a laborer in textile industry or this thing. All sort of trainings are conducted.
What about subsidies?
Subsidy, these are subsidized by government of India.
Okay.
So both the training is subsidized for the trainees, as well as the training is subsidized for the trainers. So both are subsidized.
Both are there.
Okay. All right, Sapani, I hope that answers your query. The next one is coming to us from MV Swabhanu. This is a question that's come to us on Facebook, and the query is that whether it's a nationalized bank or a private bank, the basic problem comes with capital, which is always inadequate. The problem, he says, is with unsecured loans, which in most of the cases are considered pseudo capital and accommodated, but sometimes due to high debt equity ratio, new proposals or proposals for enhancement are turned down. How do you overcome that problem? He also wants to know whether once you have convinced a banker to accept a proposal, a few years later a change in the manager handling your case, that always gets into trouble in the next proposal or the renewal of that existing loan, and how do you handle such cases and also avoid in such cases changing the banker, because of course it's tedious, cumbersome, expensive, etc. Quite a long drawn out question, but clearly something that our viewer has been through. What advice would you have, Mr. Bichalia?
Capital is not there. If debt equity ratio generally, like large projects, it is 3:1, SME it is 4:1. So 4:1 means around 25% you have to bring your contribution, 33% you have to bring your contribution. So if you are not in a position to bring your contribution, then how many, if you depend entirely on banking funds, which is interest bearing funds, it will be very difficult for any company to survive. So banks always ensure that the good amount of equity should be coming from these companies, and these companies also, based on their past earnings, they keep on converting that into reserves, and then their net worth grows. And the ideal situation, if this debt equity ratio is 1:1, I think bank will be too happy to give. 2:1, again very happy, and if it is 4:1, they have to think 10 times. They have to see the cash flows, whether these cash flows are sustainable, whether promoter any difficult time, whether he is in a position to bring additional funds. So all these are the parameters which are generally for assessment of the any project. So based on that only the banks will entertain. And shifting of banks, you see this, you can think of shifting the banks only if the existing bank is harassing you, that you are not in a position to give the information. Lot of your checks are bouncing, your bills are bouncing, and they say that your account is irregular, you are not meeting the commitments, you don't give the stock statement reports and all those things. They are not getting the information. So they ask for this information, then the borrower, they feel the heat and they try to shift to other banks. And if you are shifting to other banks on these track record, I don't think any bank will accept you. And today takeover of cases has become very, very difficult in the banking sector.
I'll just like to add that we all agree that there is a problem of getting adequate credit in across the SME and micro and medium enterprises. So actually a lot of private equity, angel and VC funds are actually going in to meeting up the margins and the equity requirements for companies who cannot meet the requirements from the banking sector. And a lot of times when you first introduce a product or you first start a new service, the banking sector may or may not be able to assist you, whereas the private NBFCs or angels or VC funds or P funds can support you in even meeting your working capital requirements, which we do in any case.
Let's take in our next query, and this one is coming to us from Subodh Kulkarni. Subodh has written in to us to say that he's in the drilling and geotechnical engineering consulting space, and that his services are strongly rooted in 3 core areas: geotechnical engineering, environmental engineering and mineral exploration. He's written in to us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow to say that after buying products, customers are not paying on time. How can he deal with this problem, and how can he manage the cash flow from there? And I'm assuming he's talking about enterprise clients, because that's why there's a line of credit which is being extended. And we hear this from a lot of our MSMEs who say that they're selling to large clients. You're stuck because they're not paying you on time. If you force them to pay you on time, then they want to go to someone else and somewhere else.
Yes.
So what do you recommend?
I think this is the main problem with the SME sector, and why these people are suffering. This is the only reason, because the large units generally they get their working capital finance from these people only, that they take everything on credit for 2 months or 3 months, or sometime it may get extended up to 6 months. and then they sell on credit basis. So, they do not need any working capital. These people, poor people, they have to suffer from this inadequacy of the cash flows. So, only solution for them is the working capital. They need the working capital, they have to go to the banks. Then banks again, receivable funding, it happens only for 90 days. Any receivable outstanding for more than 90 days, no one will finance that. So, whatever is that additional, that he has to bring from his own sources. That is the main situation available. I think under MSMED Act, it is provided that all the SME clients should be paid within 45 days. In the balance sheet now, there is a column that where they have not made the payment within 45 days, but it does not happen. Neither SMEs are reporting, and the person who has purchased, he will never report that. So, these things are there, but they are not getting that support, and they are starving for the working capital.
So, I think this is also it's a historical problem in India, because banking credit was limited. People found other ways of extending their working capital cycle by slowing down their payments, and this has become a part of our business culture now. The only way I would, apart from the help that he can get from banks, I think one way of is paying a lot of attention on receivables management, and maybe use a software and have adequate reminders and so on to remind his people who are holding his money. The other I would suggest is that the way of what we do not do is maybe stop the service being provided to a customer if he is not paid beyond a certain time. You have to take some strong arm tactics, because if the customer is not paying, you cannot let it go.
Okay, that's in response to your query, and I hope that answers your query, Subodh. With that, completely out of time then on this episode. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming down as always tonight and answering all the queries which have come in. Do remember that if you have any queries related to any aspect of your business, you can always write in to our panel of experts. The email ID is leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT, or call us on that number you see on your screens. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.